Growing your landscaping business is not about having a well-maintained property or the right type of equipment. Sure, those things are helpful, but what you really need is a strategy to grow your business. I want to take a few moments and talk about what that strategy should be. We could call it grow your business, but what is inside that strategy? I'm going to break it down for you. There's two parts, two areas that you focus on. You're either focused on external growth or internal growth. So I'll give you some examples of external growth. External growth is when you first start out, you just want to fill up like your whole week's worth of schedule. That's external growth. Your pricing, your marketing, your team, people that you hire on to help you accomplish that, and systems are all towards just filling up your schedule. Once you've gotten to a full schedule, then you move to the internal. Now you make your focus. How do you adjust your pricing upwards to increase profitability? How do you improve your marketing so that more people are calling you and you're closing more of those jobs? How do you improve your team so that you're bringing people onto your team that are committed to the same vision and values that you have? And how do you systemize the business to cut down on the downtime? This is what I mean when I say that you've got two focuses. You can only focus on one or the other. Sure, you might be able to do external growth, and that's your focus, with a little bit of work on the internal, but all your thinking has to be towards the external. If you're just starting out and you're struggling, maybe you're going to free groups, you're asking, hey, what do I charge for this job? What do I charge for that? Or how do I hire somebody? Or how do I market? What's a good way to get customers? Right now, you're in the external growth phase. What you want to do is you want to get your pricing dialed in. You want to get your marketing dialed in. You want to make sure that you're hiring people that'll help you accomplish those goals and that you're making systematic changes in the business to keep everything moving right. So let's talk about pricing for a moment, okay? Pricing needs to accurately reflect the expenses that it costs you to run your business. Are you struggling to pay your bills? Are you struggling to cover any down equipment that needs replacing or repair? If you are, chances are your pricing is not right. Okay. So the first thing that you need to do is you need to adjust your pricing. It needs to account for every expense that you have in your business. This is insurance for your trucks and trailers. It's insurance for liability in case you damage something. It's licensing. Some cities require you to have an occupational license for your business. Maybe you've got an LLC. You should be paying yourself something. Even if you don't make enough money to pay yourself, you should say, what do I want to pay myself? And work that into your price. There's a wide range of things that are actually overhead. The gas, the weed eater string, edger blades, mower blades, bags that you might need for picking up garbage. There's just a wide array of things. And I encourage you to sit down and think of everything that you spend for your business. Did you know that you can also write off a portion of your rent or your mortgage payment? You can also write off a portion of your utilities. And I encourage you to put all that in as your overhead. Okay. Then you want to figure out what would you be paying somebody if they were working with you. And whatever that is, you've got to include the taxes and all the other expenses that go along with it. Now you got your overhead and you got your variable expense, and you're going to put those together along with figuring out what your production hours are. Okay, now what are production hours? Production hours are not the total hours that you work. In other words, if you start at 7 in the morning and you finish at 5 o'clock in the evening, that's 10 hours, but that's not production hours. Maybe you're only mowing for 6 out of those 10 hours because you got drive time to the first job, drive time in between all the other jobs. Maybe you stop for lunch, maybe you get fuel. You've got to figure out what your production hours are because that's the only time that you're actually able to make money. And that's how you set your pricing. Okay. So you take your overhead, you divide it by the total number of production hours that you have in a year, your overhead for the year divided by the production hours for the year, and that gives you your base overhead pay that you've got to earn every hour. Then you add on top of it any employees that you have, and that gives you a subtotal. That is the minimum you've got to cover, and then you add a profit on top of it. Okay. This all may sound very confusing. I go into it in more detail in my school group, amongst many other things that can help you grow your business. I'll talk about it a little bit more in a moment, but it's a community I'm building of landscapers that are looking to really grow their business using the experience that I have from over 20 years in the business and the experience I have from helping others build their businesses. Okay. So now we've got the pricing pretty much worked out. You got a general idea. It's your overhead, your variable costs, and then your profit. Now you've got to market. How are you going to market? Who are you marketing to? You want to figure that out and you want to be tracking it. You want to know what's working and what's not. You don't want to be wasting time, which is money, or money, which is money, right? On marketing that's not working for your business. So you want to find what works and continue to do that. And then you can double down on it. You're going to need team. First time that you hire somebody, it may need to be a friend or a friend of a friend or a relative. They don't have to be the lifelong employee that you plan to have for the next 20 years, but you're going to need help so that you can do more. Okay. And then you create the systems so that that employee and you both know what you're going to need to do. And those systems include things like evaluating whether or not your pricing is working, evaluating if your marketing is working. How are you going to mow a yard? How are you going to edge it? Which do you do first, the edging or the mowing? Right? All this stuff needs to be systemized. Once you get to a plateau, once you get to a goal that you've set for yourself, and like I said, it could be a simple thing like I want to fill out my schedule so that I'm working 5 days a week, from 7 to 5. Okay, that's your first goal. Once you hit that, stop actively looking for new jobs. That doesn't mean turn down work, doesn't mean stop marketing, but you're not going to make that your focus. Instead, you're going to turn inside. Now is where it really gets gritty. Okay, you're going to look at your profit per job. You're going to look at how much you're making per hour. You're going to look at where you can adjust your pricing to bring it up so that in the same amount of time, you're making more money. Now, yeah, you may lose a couple of customers for that. It happens. That's fine. But people will stay with you. I've seen this over and over again. People that I've helped that have said, there's no way that, people are going to pay this price. They will. If you give them the quality, if you give them the value that they expect from you, people will stay with you. And then you refine your marketing so that you find more people like that to pay you. Now you start working on what is your team going to look at? Because you're internal. What's the type of team I want? Now you're going to make hires based on people that match your vision and value, that want your business to succeed. And these people are out there, and you can find a way to bring them in. I struggled with this so long. And then I finally figured out that the problem that I was encountering, a problem a lot of people encounter, right? You'll hear it all the time on these free Facebook groups. Oh, nobody wants to work. It's crap. They're finding the wrong people. Just like you need to find your ideal customer, you need to find the ideal team member for your business. Once you find them, now you onboard them and you teach them the systems. And then you're going to look at the systems in your business. Hey, it takes me 45 minutes to mow these properties, 45 minutes for each one of these properties. What can I do to get it down to 40? Hey, I'm only in production 7 hours out of a 10-hour day. What can I do to get it up to 7.5? Right? Because let's say that you're making $100 for every man hour, production hour that you're doing. Okay. And you're at seven. So you're making $700. I know it's not a lot. It's just a figure I'm using for easy math. But if you increase by an extra half hour, you're now at 750. And if you raise your prices 10%, that's $75. Now you're at 825. So when you're focused on the internal, you're looking at ways to make more money in the same amount of time with the same amount of effort. So you've got your external and you have your internal. The school group that I have teaches a lot about how to determine your production hours, how to set your pricing, how to market, how to find team that can work with you. And I'm building a community of landscapers who I've helped and some who I am helping, and I want to help you too. So if you're interested in learning more about growing your business, and you want somebody that is producing content weekly that is designed to help you grow your business like I grew mine to 7 figures, okay? Then you can click on the link in the video description. It'll take you to the school. Sign up. It's a 7-day free trial. If you like it, you continue each month paying, and I will help you grow your business, and other people in the group are going to help you too. There's not going to be any judgment in this group. I'm not going to allow it. I'm not going to allow people to say, "Oh, why are you asking what to set the prices at?" Or, "Why haven't you learned this?" No, that's not going to happen. It's not that type judgment. It's about teaching and learning and building the business that you want. If you are interested, click on the link in the video description, and I look forward to seeing you there.